Welcome to Women, Men, and Relationships. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. Today's episode is very special to me for several reasons. The first being that I'm interviewing one of my clients, Susan Stanton. She and I have been working together for a couple of years now, and I had made a recommendation about something that I intuitively felt she needed over the course of working with her for a while, and I called it emotional detox. Now, emotional detox to me is when you take anything stuck, any energy you've been repressing or suppressing, or even potentially are unaware of for years and years, and you bring it to the surface and you basically detox it out of you. Think of like a regular detox. You're trying to clean out all that old gunk. Somewhere along the lines, as Susan and I were talking about this emotional detox day, she renamed it Healing Day, which is perfect because it's a much more positive spin on it, and it sounds a lot more nurturing than emotional detox, but they're both the same. And actually, after recording this episode, I realized in case any of you are interested in creating an emotional detox day or a healing day for yourself, you can go to jjflazanes.com/healing day, and that would be where we would start. So while it's not a process that I have anywhere listed that I would put people through, it needs to be personalized. And after talking with Susan to record the show, I realized how truly personalized this whole thing was, because other than my events, and I created my events to do some of the same things, but in a group situation. And so if you've missed one of the live events, it really is an emotional detox weekend. And I put it together for the very purpose of releasing what weighs you down, basically, right? So before we get into today's episode and I introduce Susan a little more formally, if you are hearing today's show on the day of its publication, which is Thursday, January 24th, 2019, in a few hours from now, I will be doing a live webinar about the 3 biggest myths of weight loss. And in case you're interested in getting on that free live webinar to learn about the 3 biggest myths of weight loss and a proven plan to get your goals met this year and beyond, come to jjflazanes.com/myths. MYTHS. Again, jjflazanes.com/myths. I'd love to have you join us live today at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I believe we're recording it, and there will be a replay, but only for those who have signed up and registered. So jjflazanes.com/myths. So now about Susan. Susan Stanton has enjoyed living in Arizona for over 30 years. She has a bachelor's and a master's degree in elementary education with endorsements in teaching reading, English language learners, and early childhood learners. She has loved being a teacher for 24 years, and she's also excited to be a new Juice Plus representative. You can find out more about Juice Plus at www.sstanton.com. SSTANTON.juiceplus.com. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Well, hi, JJ. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to talking about Healing Day with you.
I've been looking forward to us doing the show for probably, 6 months? I think I asked you, we've been working together now a little over 2 years. And after the first time you did it, I thought, this would be a really great thing to share with people. And then when you did it the second time, I thought, no, we really need to talk to people about this and share this concept. And because I was so proud of you for doing it and for committing to yourself in that way. And then when you did it recently and you did several days of it, I was like, okay, enough is enough. We have to talk about this process, if for no other reason, to archive your journey. And I think it's an important one to share with others, as well as for you to hear for yourself. So Susan, let's start off by telling people, or telling me, why you decided to start working with me. We had met at a workshop that I had presented in Arizona, I don't know, maybe a year before the last one that I did, which was when you had decided that you wanted to work with me. So what got you to say yes?
I felt an energy about you, and I was at a point in my life, a critical point in my life. I was about 50 years old, and at a point where I needed to change. I needed life to change for me. At some point, I needed to have what you had in your life. And so I thought, I need a life coach. And so I liked the energy you presented. And so that's what drew me to you at first. And you know what? Amen. Because that's been working for me ever since then. Like you said, it's been almost over 2 years.
It has, and I've seen a tremendous amount of growth in you. And I think while we all are growing, right, there's like never any end point necessarily, because we all have habits and patterns that we learned and adopted and inherited that we're kind of working through. And it's not, for those of you that are listening, it's not that you have an issue and you say, okay, I'm going to work this out with this person and then I'm going to be just like them and everything's going to be great. And it's just one thing. And it's just this a magic bullet of this, pill that I can take that clears it all away. And it's the understanding that growth and expansion is a process, just like staying the same is a process. For people that decide I'm not going to do anything about it, well, then you continue to build shells and you continue to repeat your patterns, and they get even more anchored into your subconscious. And you decided to say, you know what, it's time for me to reverse the momentum and to start moving in a direction that feels better for me and my body and everything else. Do you remember? I have all of your paperwork here, but I want to see, do you remember what we started coaching about?
We did. I actually, one of the first things we talked about was initially creating a healing day. And so the one that just took place, where you said I did it multiple days, was my third. And so, like you said, it took me multiple times to kind of get the courage, as you would say, to do the podcast. And I really decided to do that to more. You said that I wanted to give back to other people what I had been so generously given from you, but also to, this really worked for me. And if I could share something, a tool that maybe might help other people, that's what I wanted to be able to give, hopefully to help others maybe see something that might help them.
Is it okay if I share some of your astrology?
Sure.
Okay, so Susan's a Virgo, and can you tell everyone listening, what, if you had to pinpoint sort of the issue, the habit, the repetitive habit that you had for a long time, what would you say that it was?
Well, first of all, it's very hard for me to change. That, for a Virgo, it's an earth sign, and I found that it's very hard for me to change. And I was in a pattern of victim mentality, and one that held on to the past. And it was very hard for me to let go of my past. And so hence the first healing day took place.
Right. And prior to that, we would say that maybe like the issue also would be, would you agree, emotional eating?
Oh, definitely. Oh,
Right.
that was the first workshop I went to. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Uh-huh.
So here's the background. And so Susan and I start working together, and knowing that she's a Virgo and doing the rest of her chart, she's got a Pisces moon. So the moon's how you deal with emotion, and Pisces is very sensitive. And her rising sign is actually Leo, which we recently had a session on, which is actually really good news for Susan in these coming years of her life. But Susan had grown up, and correct me if I'm wrong, in a situation where you didn't really allow yourself to express your feelings or even to recognize them while they were happening. Would you say that's correct?
That's very correct. In fact, I got very good. Actually, I got professionally good at stuffing my emotions. Stuffing so good at it that I became chronically ill.
And one of the things throughout the coaching and getting to know Susan and working with her that I wanted her to practice, because, I don't use astrology to pigeonhole people into a place where you are a victim to your astrology. It's leveraging, what do we do about it? Okay, so if here's the pattern, if the pattern is perfectionism and doing it right and caring what other people think about you, this is all Virgo traits, by the way. And then the Pisces part of being super sensitive and feeling victimized and feeling hurt feelings all the time, and then of course not sharing any of that and having the emotional eating going on. I had suggested that Susan take possibly a day and do what I think I called detox, like emotional detox day, which somehow turned into you making it healing day, which is fine. It's perfect.
I think that's the way it happened. That's correct.
Right. Because I think I've told this story in the show before. When I was 16, 15, 14, somewhere around there, and I was in junior high, I remember having emotions about a boy that I was interested in, and we would write notes back and forth to each other, and he didn't like me back the same way. And I remember recognizing that it wasn't a healthy relationship, that I didn't feel good about myself, that I liked him and he didn't like me, but I still liked him. So I thought, well, how am I going to get over this? So I took the box of notes, I sat on my bed, I played the Sunday evening R&D party with all the sad dedication music, love songs. I read the notes and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I almost forced myself to cry until I had no more tears, until literally I had what I call detox the emotion out of my body, because I just like leaned into it. And I'm sure everyone's heard the phrase, you have to feel it to heal it. So I was just forcing the feelings to come out using the music, using the notes, and then really just creating space for it. And I remembered that in years, like in recent years, in helping clients, and you were one of them, Susan. So I had said, Susan, what would probably be really good is, because we don't want to be afraid of our emotions. Our emotions are there to help us, and all the different feelings we have are very important. It's what happens. The problem is when we sit on them, or when we stuff them, or we don't express them, we don't process them. And so I think I had said it, why don't we do an emotional detox day? And do you remember how you felt about that?
I felt that, I was ready to do anything at that point, because I was so laden with just s- I guess such a heaviness that I needed to do something drastic. So I was willing to do anything, and so I pretty much took what you laid out for me and did it verbatim.
And I was so impressed because, and again, of course, I shouldn't be, you're a Virgo, but I was so impressed with, you literally did everything we talked about. I was so super specific, from blood sugar regulation to taking rests to like watching a movie to journaling to what you did the next day for self-care, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I did make a list, and I remember, checking it off as I went through that day, and basically that first day I went 9 hours straight.
So besides being extremely impressed that you actually did it and that you followed my directions, do you know how many clients don't follow my directions? Like I write an exercise program, and people will say, yeah, I did like a few of them. And I was like, I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, which ones should I do? I'm like, you do them in the order that I gave them to you. And because there's a reason I put them in the order I put them in. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that this was an order. I'm like, yeah, that's why it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was super impressed that you had spent the time and you actually did the work. So let's talk about, if you can remember, what you felt were the benefits and what your experience was on that first healing day.
Okay, well, I first of all, I like the structure, because there was like you said, there was a reason for it, and I went out and I ate a very healthy breakfast, because I knew after that I was not going to allow distractions, and I'll get to the reason why you said there shouldn't be. Um, I listened to your intuition podcast, and you'll have to let everybody know what number that was. I don't have it down. And the second number was, I did I feel exercise. And so there was page, and it was page, I feel fear, dot, dot, dot. I feel shame, dot, dot, dot. I feel guilty. I feel sad. I feel angry. And you don't think, you don't judge, you just let it flow. You let it flow, you let it flow, you let it flow. You write, you write, you write. I remember looking through photo albums. I remember listening to music. I remember purge as long as you need, journal, get it out until you feel empty. And music, I remember you saying, helps get the emotions out. And you said, even one of the things you said was, use it as a backup to squeeze out more emotion. And I love this. You said, notice when you have the impulse to eat, an impulse to distract yourself. Remember, no distractions. It's scary, but Susan, it's okay. Be mindful. It's telling when you have the urge to distract yourself and your body wants to shut down. If it does, ask yourself, what I don't want to feel. Ask yourself, get out that feelings list. What needs are not being, met, that kind of thing. But at that point, I remember you saying too, no need to worry about problem solving, just feel. And also, At the end of all that journaling and music and photo albums or whatever you need to make you feel, watch a movie. And not just any movie. You gave me a specific one, which I really, really, really liked. It was called My Life by Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman. Boy, that's a tearjerker, let me tell you. And that even brought out more emotion. In fact, it brought out so much emotion, I've used it at all 3 healing days. And then you said, and with radical self-forgiveness. That's huge. It's huge. It's a huge step. And you had chakra clearing. You want to end with all that. You've let all this out. So in with something positive like the chakra clearing. And then, like you said, do something soothing for yourself. And all that process lasted 9 hours that day.
Wow, that's good. Well, I mean, I specifically tailored it for you. And so, I know you're reading from your notes, right? Because
yeah, and I left, and I referred to that each healing day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the benefits of working with me one-on-one is I'm tailoring this stuff per person. And I said that this is what I felt
Sure.
would be beneficial to you because
Right.
you were so used to doing the opposite of feeling your feelings. You were stuffing them or eating them away or, being a people pleaser, them away or ignoring them. We can't really release things from our bodies and from our awareness and from the things that we're storing if we don't know when they're there and we're not allowing them space. So that's the other thing too, is that most people don't allow space for processing, which is why I have to do events, because most people won't do what you did, Susan, which is why we're doing this show, is because I want to encourage people to take anything that calls to you from today's episode with Susan and consider the fact that if you're not coming to an event of mine or going to somewhere else like a meditation retreat or some places actually, although that can be dangerous, sometimes meditation can actually stuff it down. The whole quieting actually may not be working for some people. So that isn't always the right place to go. This was in order to get it out of you. So now you've gone to the 9 hours. And do you remember how you felt like a couple days later, or what you thought your biggest takeaway was from the first healing day?
I just remember going to work the next day feeling like there had been something lifted off my shoulder. Like some of the heaviness had been lifted. Like it was a new day. Like I was beginning something fresh. There was a freshness about me that I wasn't the same. And that was good. I mean, that there had been something released, that something powerful had happened. And working with you, JJ, as you know, led to some major life changes. Because of that, I did complete those major life changes. There was I realized recently, some residue from those changes. And I realized that I was more conscious of emotions that I never really had before. That feeling that there was awareness of emotions that had been always kind of so stuffed down before that I never really was conscious of them. And I realized they were bubbling under the surface recently and they needed to get out. And so once again, I created space for myself just recently and created another time for another healing day.
Well, you did a whole weekend, but I want to go before we get to the weekend, because that
Yes.
really addresses the major life change that you made, and like you said, the residue from that. What was going on, or when did you feel the impulse to do another healing day? Do you remember what the second one was like?
The second one was more like just the summer after the life changes. It was this last summer. This last summer, I had moved, which was one of the things. I had ended a 13-year relationship as well, and so most of those life changes were needed for me to even begin a healing process. And I never had a chance to feel. I kind of moved. I started back at work again, and it all kind of happened in a week's time. And so, life happens, and I realized I had all these feelings again that were pent up, and I needed to create that space. But I realized that wasn't enough. It was like a half day healing day. And I felt like that wasn't enough time, which led to a whole 4 days this time.
which was supposed to be one day, right? And then I think you decided to take all 4 days.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, let's talk about that. So you started this process now, and you started this process because you had some alone time. You had some alone time, you had some downtime, and you went through a major transition 6 months prior, a year prior, and you felt the residue. And your intention was not to keep going, right?
That was correct. My intention was to one day, and then, I realized that the one day held pretty much the same type of structure we had talked about with the first one that I did. But I knew that there was more to get out. That I just kind of started getting what I needed to get out, and that was because over the last couple of years, I'm even more aware of my feelings than I used to be. And so because I was able to I had the time and I had the space, I kept continued going.
And obviously, you felt a bit of relief after doing the first and second one, enough so that you even wanted to do it again.
I knew the benefits. Yes, I knew that it was the way to go. I knew that that if I wanted to move on and live a higher quality of life and work and walk at a higher vibration like I want to do, that's what I needed to do.
So we've now been working together for about 2 years. And how would you say, from your position right now, your life is different than from when we started 2 years ago?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, you've opened a lot of windows for me. I feel like the walls have been broken down. It's almost like I see things from a different perspective. I'm more aware of my emotions. I express them easier. I'm right now. I journal more often. I find that I have more compassion. I'm starting to show more compassion for myself. I'm starting to show more compassion for other people. For example, now, like you said, I'm more prone to being sensitive and taking things personally. If something were to happen along those lines, I started asking questions such as, you know, what might that other person why might they be acting that way? Or what makes them react like that? And kind of show more compassion towards them and think more along the lines that that's more about them. I'm learning to establish boundaries. So I feel like you've introduced me to a lot of wonderful people. I think I've learned a lot about nutrition through you. I've actually gone to one of your events, Releasing What Weighs You Down, last January, which was phenomenal, which even catapulted me to a newer level there.
Thank you.
And yes, and then I also, as you alluded to earlier, work with you on a one-to-one basis, life to coach, and I alluded to earlier, which is amazing to have that coaching from you on a one-to-one basis. I just feel like a lot's been released since working with you, and that I'm not so limited in beliefs. I'm starting to open up my mind. I'm more open-minded than I used to be. And I love all that. And I know a lot of more about astrology than I used to too.
You never thought you were signing up for that, did you? Jeannie made a joke at this last Releasing What Weighs You Down because she's seen me do this presentation several times, and it wasn't until this last time that she finally kind of got it. And she's laughing, and she says to me, JJ, I had to defend you to Alan, to Dr. Alan Peters, when I first started doing consultations at Nourishing Wellness Medical Center, because he overheard me ask them their sign, and he didn't understand why I was doing that. And she really didn't either, but she kept saying, no, she's really good. She's really good. So now finally, like, the light bulb went on. How many years later? I said, are you kidding me? That was like 13 years ago. So now she's realizing, because she did a whole chart of her family, to understand the intricacies of their relationship dynamics using astrology. And so, yeah, I definitely love using that. And I'll say, Susan, too, what's been really fun about working with you is I do appreciate the structure that the Virgo does provide you. I love the notes that you take and that you review them and that you follow directions, because that's, to me, if you're spending the money and the time to have a coaching session, why wouldn't you follow the directions, or at least, come up with a plan together? And Susan was actually the inspiration for a show that I did on transmuting scarcity. So that was actually the title of the show. We had a coaching session, and Susan's getting ready to go into retirement soon. And part of what had come up was, financial things and like planning for retirement and beyond retirement and things that she wants to do and explore. And Susan's a teacher. And I know that one of the things that, like you said, I'd opened your mind to new perspectives. Like I realized that when you work a job for a company your entire life and you only know how to get a paycheck in one way, you don't know what you don't know. And I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 18 years. And so the thought of all your skill sets and we spent a little bit of time creating programs that you do, after school programs, weekend programs for kids. We started putting together and getting really creative about how you could create a business after retirement that got me so excited about your future that I think inspired you to think outside the box, right?
Absolutely, it did.
And so I realized that a lot of people feel scarcity because they don't know what they don't know. And until you learn another way to do something or experience, having a creative idea and expressing that in a new way, all of a sudden there's a freedom that comes along with trusting that, and it's going to even get more when you start doing it. When you start doing it and see the results of it, you're going to get super excited. So one of the things that Susan's been able to accomplish, besides all these amazing healing days, is that now she's moved into she's going to be grooming herself to do more entrepreneurial things in time. And one of my suggestions, based on some of what she likes to do and the kind of person that she is, and she loves to help people, and she works with children, and she's a teacher, and she's very nurturing. I thought one of the companies that I use their products, it's called Juice Plus, would be a perfect product because there's only a few things in the line. There's vitamins that I'll let you talk a little bit about it, Susan, but I've been using them for years. And anytime anyone has either children or themselves and they don't feel they're getting enough vegetables in their diet, the antioxidant quality of Juice Plus is outstanding. And so it's great for, cell health and for aging. And anyway, so I just thought this would be a great opportunity. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how, if you think that, the work with me or Healing Day has led you to sort of this new chapter in your life?
Oh, JJ, thank you. Yes. Well, Healing Day, one of the components of Healing Day was to take better care of myself and have compassion towards myself. And what is that? Is to take better care of my body. And I do not get enough fruits or vegetables in my body at all. And one of the things that Juice Plus helps with is it takes whole foods, like JJ was talking about, and puts it whole foods like vegetables and fruits and berries and puts them into capsule form. And what's beautiful about it is there's no sugars or anything like that, but you get all the antioxidants, all the benefits from it. And I thought, well, this just seems like it'd be beautiful for me to do because I don't get that in my daily food plan. And what wonderful way to help me boost my health and get the antioxidants I need. Especially, I was talking to you about, helping my self heal, even with my body heal. And so, I'm starting to take Juice Plus, and I've learned so much about it. And I was just, I went to some seminars about it recently, and just love what they had to have to offer, and all the research that they show that supports it, all the benefits. And I just so excited about it. And so I've just started to sell the product. So I'm excited to start sharing that with others.
The person that I introduced Susan to, who is a person that I get my Juice Plus from, for years had asked if I wanted to sell it, and I didn't. And it's not because I don't believe in the product. I tell people about the product all the time. In fact, I met with a family, and the mom really wanted the son to eat more vegetables, to eat better, because he was in training for his athletics, and they wanted him to get a scholarship, and he wanted to go really far as an athlete, but he ate a lot of sugar and a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of meat, but not a lot of vegetables. And my first thing out of my mouth was, have them take Juice Plus. And Juice Plus also comes in gummies, and they're like candy. Can I tell you? Have you had them yet, Susan?
I have, and they're amazing.
I love the green ones. They're vegetables in a green gummy that tastes like candy. Like, I had to really put some serious limits on myself, because I could go in and eat that whole bag. I mean, they're delicious. There's no crap in it. It is good for you. It's a vitamin, and there is no child that isn't going to love the two flavors. I think there's just two of the Juice Plus gummies. So, and it's a vegan, they've got vegan products. I mean, it's such a high quality product. And the first thing out of my mouth was, have them take Juice Plus. And funny enough, the husband actually knows, against one of the original owners, or one of the owners of Juice Plus. He's like, oh, I can get some Juice Plus. So the only reason why I'm not selling it is because I have so many other things going on that I'd love to help people like Susan, or another client of mine, Savannah, have them share this product, because I have other products to share. So we can all help each other by sharing what works for us, and spreading the word about, the good stuff that's out there. Because there is so much crap when it comes to vitamins, things that have binders, that have stones, ingredients that are so low quality your body rejects it, so you barely get any of the vitamins off of it. And so, vitamins are a big deal. So I'm really happy and excited that you have decided to share Juice Plus with people that you know, because it's going to create not only an income for you, it's going to create and really a better health, because you will want to, even more so than you are now, live up to the standard of what Juice Plus teaches, which is a lot of the healthy things that I talk about too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they say that actually, when you take these capsules, your body starts to crave vegetables and fruit even more, which is exciting to hear that.
Yeah, well, I love the products, and I'm really super excited for you. So to conclude on the healing day, because I really, again, wanted to share the process. I wanted to inspire others, because honestly, I was inspired every time you do it. If someone else was listening to this and considering, what would you tell them? Like, why would you tell them to do it? What would you warn them about? Or how would you prepare them? Or what would you say in terms of, to get them over the fence and say, and really tell them why they should do it?
Well, I think that if you feel stuck like I did, and I felt stuck for many, many years, this is the way to get unstuck. And it's giving the gift of time to yourself. It's creating space for yourself to, and whatever it may be, but this one happened to be to get out emotion for me, and just to heal, and to take time to release emotion, and pent up, that I had been stuck energy. And because I allowed myself to do that, doors are opening for me now. I'm looking at things differently than I ever have before. And what a blessing that is. And just, I mean, just, it's just such a gift, and such a joy. And just see myself starting to live with more happiness and joy is, I can't even begin to tell you how much that means to me. Because the state I was in 2 years ago is nothing like the state I am now. Thank you, JJ, and for being one of those main people that helped me get out of where I was, because I was stuck, and it was not a pretty place to be in. So I just encourage anybody out there that's at that place, if you create space for yourself and give yourself the gift of something like this time, and to release emotion and do something kind for yourself, the benefits are amazing, amazing. And I will also say that JJ is a great person to work with, and she's just been a blessing to me. So wanted to let you know that too.
Oh, thanks, Susan. I've so enjoyed working with you. You've taught me equally as much, and I really appreciate you being open for me to being open to me sharing your story and sharing this information and sharing. I mean, there are times where I give what I think is really good advice. And again, people don't follow through and do it. And this healing day slash detox emotion day that we set up was one of those things that I felt real strongly about, but I didn't know that you were going to do it. So when you did it, I was super impressed with that you did it. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing. And I mean, I would do it, but most people want to say, well, I'm not you. And they want to use that as an excuse for why they can't do something. And you did not create that limitation on yourself. You really dedicated yourself to your own healing. You continue to do so. And the progress has been amazing because, like you said, even in our session today, that you're so much more conscious and aware and now able to pinpoint the thoughts and ideas that bring about the emotion. And then the emotions are coming quicker and you're recognizing them and you have tools to process them. And that, of course, is all to help alleviate. Really, the bottom line for me is when people talk about emotional eating, or any addiction, whether it be alcohol or drugs or TV or shopping, just avoiding or creating a new circumstance for things. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you had been in groups before for years about emotional eating, correct?
I had been actually. I've been in countless therapy groups, one-on-one therapy sessions, for 20 plus years before I met you. Yeah, and which didn't heed much progress.
Well, so that was my next question, and it's
Mhm.
okay. I want to know, do you think that what we've been doing has been more effective or just different?
It's been different, but it's also made progress, and that's why, because it's been different.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's been extremely different. Um, Not all therapies are created equal, let me tell you. And I have been through so many different types of therapy. And I love that you have a variety of techniques and strategies. Like you said, that you cater towards the person you are treating. And I love that you have a wealth of knowledge in so many areas. And like I said, that's what attracted me to your energy when I first met you, and there was a reason for that, and I'm so glad that that was what happened, because here we are today, and I'm so much better for it.
Thank you. And I'm glad that we had at least, two opportunities to meet so that way we could connect in a different way on that second time. And when you came to another one of my workshops in Arizona, and I appreciate, your honesty, because I'm not trying to, if something works for somebody, that's great. I've just noticed a lot of therapies that tend to not get to the root of the emotional eating. And to me, this is about emotional processing. And so the whole point of today is about this healing day, detox emotion day, which is for someone like you. Like when you were reading the list of what we talked about you doing, I'm I'm patting myself on the back. I'm like, wow, that's good. Because it's specifically for you.
Right.
And because I don't have this written anywhere. So in case any of you email me and ask me, no, I don't have it written anywhere. I mean, I probably have it in Susan's file, but it was created by Susan. And I took who Susan was and what her habits and patterns are, and I created, because I forgot that I put the chakra clearing in there. Like I'm like, oh my God, that's good. And then of course we ended with radical self-forgiveness. I'm like, oh my God, that's so good. Right. But it's because it's for you. And I don't have some, you can't just print out, here's how to do an emotional detox for yourself. I mean, it's going to vary from person to person based on several factors, your astrology being one of them. And so I do appreciate that you took such detailed notes to remind me of what I even prescribed for you. And even in that, there were so many tools, right? So yeah, I definitely want to make sure people understand that if you have been dealing with, let's say, emotional eating or anxiety for a long period of time and the therapies that you're doing aren't working, it might be because you're using the wrong tools, or you are being led to believe that if you change your circumstances, that you'll change your response to your circumstances. But my whole brand of healing is when you actually get to the root and you can heal and express and release and get rid of the things inside of you that you keep pushing down. Then and of course you heal that idea of whatever that belief is or however you're thinking about it, then you don't have to control situations. You can be free to be in any situation with any person at any time and not be as triggered or not be as affected. And that to me is true freedom, because you can't go around controlling people. Or even, I think that's why, like for people that I think in some emotional eating situations, they think about controlling calories, right? And I'm like, oh, that's the perfect way to really keep control issues up with someone who's an emotional eater, because the minute you get you have an emotion, that's all going to go to crap, and it's going to go out the window because it's restrictive. It's not honoring why you're eating in the first place. So I really enjoyed being able to kind of create this with you. You're the first person that I've told to do this and in this way. And although lots of people need it, trust me, Susan, you're not the only person. Like, I have all these men clients that need it, which is why I created all of the live events to try to get them closer to a situation where they could experience a little bit more release. But, people have to meet you halfway and be willing. So I really appreciate that you have been willing, you've been ready, you've been responsive, you've been nurturing to yourself. And I really appreciate you sharing your story here on the podcast with everyone listening, because I know someone out there is on the edge of feeling like they need something just like this. And that this idea is going to really resonate with several people, if not a lot of people. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your experience. So I want to make sure that people, because I know we talked about it, I want to make sure people know how to reach you in case they're interested in Juice Plus, for anyone who doesn't know anyone. So as Susan said, it's basically fruits and vegetables in a capsule. It is, I believe, how is it processed? It's not like sometimes when you make things or cook things, like it loses their potency, but these do not. What's the process?
There's a certain way that they do it so that there's less than 1 gram of carb per serving. And it's the way they take it. They take whole foods from the actual farm, which they wait till it's vine ripened. They put it into capsule form. There's some way that they do that, and they show a video on it, which I have it on my website. But there's some kind of proprietary process they do. They take all the water out, and what's left is the actual antioxidants, all the nutrients that they put in capsule form. It's from a powder. They put that into capsule form. The capsule actually protects all the antioxidants, and you're getting that farm fresh antioxidants right into pretty much to your mouth.
And at the last event, Releasing What Weighs You Down event, Jeannie Peters even talked about how when they do like antioxidant hand scans in their office, the people who usually come up really high are the people who are taking Juice Plus. So for all the reasons why we all need antioxidants, and for all the reasons why we want to get more fruits and vegetables, more vegetables though, not fruit. We want to get some fruit, but we want more vegetables. To get more vegetables in your diet, if that's the only, one that you're interested in, or if we're trying to get your children to eat better, or your elderly parents or people that you love who can't chew anymore. There's several populations that really, everyone needs it, but there are several populations where this is perfect for. So definitely check out Susan's website. Susan, what's your website?
It's Stanton, SSTANTON .juice, JUICE plus PLUS.com.
sstanton.juiceplus.com?
Correct.
Okay, cool. sstanton.juiceplus.com. All right. And if they have any other, can they like email you through the website if they have any questions for you?
It's not through the website, but I can give my email through you or through this.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Yeah.
All right. So my email is dolphin, just like the mammal, DOLPHIN 642 @gmail.com.
Okay. So reach out to Susan if you're interested in learning more about Juice Plus. Again, great product. Love it. I have Doug on it. We take it every day, and it keeps us healthy. Our immune system's high, our antioxidants high, keeps us looking young. And we take the omegas, which is a new product, and they're completely vegan. So for anyone who's wondering, it's just a great company. I would sell it if I didn't have 20 other things I sell, but I figured I have enough going on. I'm happy to support it because I use it, and I only really work with a few of those kinds of companies. So I'm giving it the stamp of approval.
Thank you, JJ. And again, thank you for all you do for me and for countless other people.
You're welcome, Susan. Thank you again for sharing your story on the podcast. And I will be speaking with you personally probably in a few weeks, right?
Sounds wonderful. Okay, take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's show. If you want to get started on creating your own healing day, go to jjflazanes.com/healing day. Or if you want to join the live webinar today on the 3 biggest myths in weight loss, go to jjflazanes.com/myths.